Hey, Danny, as somebody who's played a lot of basketball, been around a lot, and developed a lot of guys, coached a lot of guys, what struck you about Emmanuel since he got here?
A lot, to be honest with you. You know, Emmanuel has been an interesting case study from the standpoint of week and a half, 2 weeks ago, he's in a different world, so to speak. And so to make the adjustment of coming over here, the flight, 20 hours or so of flying time, and then you kind of hit the ground running. You know, he's trying to get caught up with what we're trying to do offensively, defensively, adjust to the new environment that he's in. But he's been a sponge every day. You know, he comes in and he's always wanting to learn, wanting to pick things up. And you can tell by the first time we put him out on the court at Notre Dame, he's grasped the concept of some things very well. And his energy is contagious. And he's just out trying to do whatever he can to please Coach Payne, KP, and to help our team be successful.
Said that he wanted him to be comfortable before he threw him out there. Are you surprised that he was comfortable enough to play that fast?
Not at all, just based upon the intangibles that we see on the practice court. You know, those are things that he brings every day, the effort, the energy. He does a really good job of communicating as well, especially for someone that hasn't been in this environment for quite some time. So, you know, he has those basics down. Now, obviously, he needs to continue to improve and get better, but the things that he walked in the door with have been very helpful to our team in this short amount of time.
When you over your course of time of playing and of coaching, when you see a guy that has that intensity, he's always kind of going. That can be infectious, can it, to the others? And have you seen that a little bit with the other guys?
Oh, absolutely, been infectious. You know, he steps out there on the court, and right now, he plays at one speed. That's all he knows, and that's motor on high, hot. And so, you know, you definitely, as someone competing up against him, you have to turn your motor to that dial or that speed as well. And so that's always been something that we look for different guys to bring at certain periods of time. And that's something that Manny brings every time he steps out on the court.
You guys have Georgia Tech, obviously, tomorrow. They just got doubled up by Duke. They've lost 5 in a row, most of them by double figures. When you watch them, what are you seeing from Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech displays a lot of different tendencies offensively and defensively. Offensively, they get into their Princeton sets where they have a lot of actions out on the perimeter where they're dribbling at you, and you can see some backdoor cuts or you can see some long looping cuts. And they try to put you in situations to confuse you when they bring two players together. And then it's just a read and react. They also do a really good job of getting out in transition. So those two things, along with them getting on the offensive glass, they keep a lot of rebounds alive. Going to the offensive glass, if they can't get the rebound, they do a great job of back tipping it out. And then defensively, you know, I played against Josh's teams for quite some time in Conference USA and then, you know, ACC. And he has a really good mix of changing defenses to try to keep you in a unsettled state offensively. And so, you know, for us to attack all those things offensively, we have to have great ball and body movement, and we have to be able to be confident in our passing, because the defenses that Josh plays most of the time are designed to make you hesitant, and we have to be able to see passes ahead and get the ball to certain areas based upon what type of defense that they're playing.
With Emmanuel, the one thing he plays with such energy, but also Notre Dame didn't have anything to look at. Georgia Tech now has a little bit of film to see. Is he going to have some learning now to do as teams are ready for him a little bit more?
Oh, absolutely. And each game is going to get a little bit harder for him just because there's more intel on him as a player. You know, the things for us that we're going to tell him is just go out and you try to execute our game plan and you play with the same effort and energy each possession, and then we'll go from there. Now, obviously, throughout the course of ball games, there'll be timeouts, there'll be dead ball stoppages where we can give him some different types of directions based upon what the other team is doing at that particular time. But as long as he's out there communicating and playing with high energy level, you know, we feel like he's bringing something positive to the table for us.
Hey, Danny, right here in the back. As a staff member with previous head coaching experience, what do you try to tell Kenny in a season like this when this is the first time that he's been at the helm of the program?
You know, not just me, it's just everyone on staff. You know, we have to continue to see big picture. You know, that's the biggest thing. You know, a lot of times you get in situations like this and you want that quick fix. You know, I want something that what's going to change the moment, the minute right now where, you know, KP is in the mindset of building the program, building the culture. And that's done day by day, brick by brick. And that's what we try to do every day. We try to stay true to who we are as men. And, you know, that's based upon, you know, KP and his direction. But it's every day you come in and you work. You show up every day to work. And that's the mindset that we want our young people to have. But also, not just in basketball, that's every day. That's life. You know, every day you got to show up. You know, nothing can happen unless you show up and you put forth that effort. And so that's the mindset that we bring every day, being consistent in your effort, being consistent in showing up. And then from there, you know, some days you wake up and you feel great, some days you don't, but you still got to show up and give us what you got.
Danny, I guess along those lines, you've been a part of very successful teams and teams that have struggled. How do you feel like the players have responded as the year's gone on? They've said all the right things, it seems, but as the losing mounts, it gets tougher and tougher, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging season, no question about it, but it's also a challenging season when you're on the other end and you're winning a lot of games. And so for us, our guys have come in and day out, and they put forth the effort to get better. And some days you might have to aggressively challenge them a little bit more or prod them more, but it's there. And they come out with the mindset of trying to get better, of trying to help their teammates improve, and that's what we want day in and day out. We've acknowledged the fact that it's challenging when things aren't going your way, but you still have to go out there and try to make your own breaks, try to find something that you can bring to the table as an individual that will collectively help our team.
Danny, it's obviously been a rough season for everyone involved so far, but what is, for you specifically, what has it been like dealing with the losing as the losses mount up?
Well, you know, obviously as competitors, you always want to be on the other side of the win column, if you will. But every day, our staff, we come in and we want to help our young people. You know, when we got hired by KP, one of the first questions he asked all of us, are you basically capable of helping young people grow, develop, love on them, but also challenge them to be the best that they can be day in and day out? And that hasn't changed. And so for us, you know, we come in and, you know, we're going to love our guys, we're going to put our hands around them, but we're also going to kick them in the butt and challenge them and push them and prod them as well. And that's been our mindset. And that won't ever change because that's who we are as people. You know, we all have the fatherly type of feel when we see these young people every day where we want what's best for you. And sometimes you don't know what's best for you, and we got to help lead you that way.
You guys fell behind at Notre Dame pretty big and then did cut the margin. Emmanuel played quite a bit. Fabio got in, and Devin. Do you anticipate some of the younger guys getting more time this week and going forward?
My mindset has always been, and this is KP's mindset as well, is you put on that jersey, you need to be ready when your number's called. And, you know, everybody's role has been defined on this team. So when you get an opportunity, you have to go out there and you have to make the most of your opportunity. And that's been our mindset day in and day out. And our guys understand that. And so, you know, when they're not in the ball game, you know, we're always encouraging them to know what's going on, understand scouting report, look out there and see who's playing well, who's doing what. So when you get into the ball game, your adjustment period is just the speed of the game and not necessarily what's happening throughout the course of the ball game. Okay, thanks.